Hey guys, so we got a really great episode with Jon Tilly from Zonguru, where I got to pick his brain on Amazon product selection and expanding internationally and much, much more. So I hope that you enjoy the episode. And as always, if you want to grow and scale quickly on Amazon, make sure to head over to turnkeyproductmanagement.com and you can click the Let's Chat button to schedule a call with us if you're ready to grow, and we'll show you what we can do to get you to the next level. So enjoy this episode. Thanks. Hey, what's up, guys? Today we've got Jon Tilly from Zone Guru, and happy to have him on the podcast and pick his brain. So, welcome, Jon. Thanks for coming on the show.
What's up, Jeff? Good to be here. I know we're on the same time zone. I'm in Los Angeles, you're down in San Diego. So good stuff, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those that don't know, tell us how you started Zone Guru and got into that business.
Yeah, this is going back to 2016 is when we launched Zonguru. Prior to that, I was in advertising, in digital advertising for many years as a strategy director. The typical path of many of us over that 2013-14 period. I stumbled into Amazon at a conference in Vegas. The penny dropped for me. I was like, I always had what I call entrepreneurial FOMO. Always wanting to kind of start my entrepreneurial journey, but never pulled the trigger because I was like I had such a full-time gig with advertising. But when I saw this ability to create products and to sell products, not time, the penny dropped for me, and I started my Amazon journeys, launched products in the first 6 months, was really successful with those. So I fired myself from my gig, and was selling products, but saw the opportunity to create a SaaS business at the time, really kind of rolling up a few different tools into one. And that was our start back in early 2016. So since then we're now I think we're in 11 different countries, Amazon marketplaces, and 17 tools that can help you with your Amazon journey, specifically focused on sellers, that 6 to 7 figure range, needing the right tools at each part of your business to kind of really make the right decisions and take action. So that's Zonguru in a nutshell.
Nice, that's awesome. So, did you stop selling your own products and now you're focused solely on Zone Guru, or?
No, I still sell. I still sell products. Kind of my original brands I still have in partnership with my brother, who lives in the UK, and those are still going. And then I have a separate brand with another partner that we're selling on Amazon, kind of an interesting space as well. So I still sell. I'm passionate about it. I think it's it's probably one of the most amazing opportunities all of us have in our lifetime to kind of create some real scalable financial wealth, if you really focus on it and give it a good go. So I think that opportunity is available for everyone. I love selling products. I love seeing the sales come in, and I also invest in our staff on Zonguru to become sellers themselves. We give them a 0% loan for their first stock purchase. We give them the capital to help them get going. So about 50% of our team sell on Amazon, including head of customer success, our CTO, all 7-figure sellers, head of product is a 7-figure seller. So it's really in our DNA, in terms of understanding what problems we need to solve as sellers with data, and then bringing that to our audience and our customers. So we live and breathe selling for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, it makes sense to practice what you preach and learn what are the issues and problems that you need to solve in real time for sellers. So that's cool. So how do you let's talk about some tips for Amazon sellers, whether they have their own brand already or whether they're just started out. How do you go about finding amazing product opportunities when there's millions of choices out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I would say first is don't be scared, right? I think there's always, going back to the day of when I was selling in 2013, there's always the naysayers, and they're like, oh my goodness, Amazon is so competitive, you should have been here 3 years ago. It's the same conversation people are having right now. It's a little bit changed now. People are like, okay, big brands with big budgets, PPC is pay to play, and right. There's always these sophisticated competitors in the space, but on the other end of that, there's still more opportunity now than ever with a marketplace that is growing. And you just need to be able to use data in the right way to find the opportunities, and they're there, right? So you need to do your homework. You need to understand how to do it, but don't be put off and think that the opportunity is lost. It's bigger now than ever. That's the first thing I'd say. The second thing I'd say is the international opportunity is really viable right now, and it's almost like going back to Amazon.com in the US in 2016. It's marketplaces like Australia, India to an extent is coming up. That's booming right now. A couple of the European countries, UAE, all of these are, especially with the pandemic, everything has shifted online. So all of these Amazon marketplaces in other countries are really getting traction right now, and there's huge opportunity there. And you're kind of at the beginning of the growth of those marketplaces. And Amazon's just going to crush it with their Prime. So if you can get in and stay in stock, you have this natural growth that's going to happen. So we're seeing huge growth for some of our customers in markets like Amazon Australia, a massively viable opportunity. Germany is obviously still growing. So don't just think about Amazon.com or Amazon Canada, etc. Think globally, and there's definitely all the services you need to be able to open up in any marketplace you want. You don't have to stick to Amazon.com. It's the same as people living in Australia selling on Amazon.com, right? It's absolutely viable. So think broader when you're looking at it. That's the second point I'd make. And then I think importantly, use data, right? And use a tool, whether it's Zonguru or whatever you find. But it's important to understand that you're getting access to the right data and it's visualized in the right way so that you can make the right decision in terms of the product you're gonna invest in. It's a huge milestone, and all the problems that Amazon sellers have, most of them stem from them not picking the right kind of product. So if you get your product choice right, everything else is gonna scale on top of that, right? So you've got to be pretty disciplined in using data to guide you, right? Because making choices are emotional, right? So if you have the right data, it takes the emotion out of it and you can make the right choice. So that's obviously what we focus on. I think the way that we really approach it is we answer kind of four key questions, right? One is how much demand is there for the product? You need some kind of search volume. What is the demand? How many customers are looking for that kind of product? The second one is, what is the capital that you need? How much money do you actually need to be able to launch and compete on that product? And the next one is, how competitive is that marketplace? Competition is important. And then the final one is, how much profitability can you make? Can you charge the right kind of price and have enough left over to be able to scale a proper business? So those are four important business questions that we answer with thousands of data points, kind of brought down into one visual view that will help you choose. And then the fifth one is really important, which is differentiation. How do you differentiate your product? That's obviously a much softer skill. You have to learn that. But those are the things that go into our niche radar score, and will help you in any marketplace. So that's how we look at it.
Nice. Yeah, those are great questions to ask. So what would be like one tangible rule of thumb that you look for, let's say on like competitor revenues that you're looking at in the niche? Like, are you looking for the number one seller in the niche doing over 100K or no more than $1 million? Or, are there any like rules of thumb that, you kind of, look at as far as that sector?
I think in terms of revenue, it's not that. What's important to me is a little bit of depth. So if I'm looking at, for example, our Chrome extension, or actually on an Amazon page, for the number one, for the listings on page one, what is the depth of revenue, right? I don't want to just see one seller doing $1 million. I want to see, a few sellers maybe doing $1 million a month, and maybe some depth on the 6 figures or the 5 figures, right? someone who's doing 1 million a month, it's probably not a first product that you want to go into. I would go much more niche than that. Um, but I would like to see a little bit of depth for sure, and not too much, right? Where you kind of outpace. But I think more important than revenue is understanding the capital investment, and I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make. Is like it's not that easy these days to just kind of go in and be like, hey, I'm just going to launch 100 products and let's just test and see if it works. You really have to understand that you know part of your problem is picking a product and getting live on Amazon, but more and more, because of the sophistication of the market, it's your launch strategy and it's your post-launch strategy that's really critical, right? And you can't go half-ass, on that anymore, right? So you have to, be confident in your choice, order enough stock, have a great launch strategy, and go hard from day one, right? That's really important. So, understanding your capital, you know, your capital spend and how much you want to do. If there's guys sitting and making 1 million a month, your capital investment is probably $150,000, right? Whereas if you're looking at guys who are making 6 figures, you can still hit those products that you're launching for like 20,000 a month in capital investment, right? That's probably where you need to be, somewhere around that mark, to have a great initial product, or stack a few products on top of each other. So one thing that people forget as well is that, like, okay, well, if I have 100,000, I can invest in this launch, right? You're playing with big boys there, right? And if your product's successful, you need capital to scale that business, and that's not always the easiest thing to find. All of a sudden you're like, okay, well, I've done well with 100,000, but now I need 500,000 in cash to buy enough stock to be able to continue to compete and grow. Right? That's a pretty rapid, risky business to be in. So, I would say if you're kind of in that first or second product, you want to be in the niche with a 10 to 20,000 investment, so that as you sell that, you can kind of get a little bit of loans, get some capital going, and slowly scale that business until you're starting to put down the 500,000. You don't want to do that from the get-go, right? So it's important to think post my initial sales, like how much capital I still need to keep going.
Yep. No, those are great tips.
I remember
So
the first time I had to, like, or it was my second order, and I had to put down like I'd started with a 10,000 investment, and then I had to, I think it was like $75,000, and I pretty much like crapped myself. I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna, like, so those are things you got to think about. Like, if you're really growing your business, you start to put down 75, 100,000, 200,000. It's a lot of money. Yeah.
Yep. No, absolutely. And yeah, I love that you talked about the international expansion, and want to talk about that a little bit. So yeah, what a lot of our clients, like, they, most of them tend to be like, they're just on Amazon.com, and we actually do help them launch internationally. But what would you say are like some tips to go international? And because some people are like, well, do I have to set up all this stuff? Do I have to pay VAT tax and register? And what do I do with the inventory? So what would you say are some tips for easy ways to test the international waters?
I think the first tip I'd make is, like, your timing. You have to do it at the right time for your business, right? You have to understand that there's a lot of opportunity. If you've launched, say, on Amazon.com, and you're looking to expand to other marketplaces, you get a lot more headaches with that, right? There's shipping, there's distribution, there's VAT, there's taxes. If you have different SKUs, now all of a sudden you're not sitting on one marketplace, you're splitting your stock. So there's a lot more to manage there. And to be honest, it can become, it will become potentially a lot less efficient, right? And you start to eat into your margin. Maybe something's not working right well, or you run out of stock and you're just not managing it in the right way. So you have to, I would say you need to be able to have scale with your product already in the markets. Probably be doing at least 6 figures a year. Maybe north of mid 6 figures, starting to really scale. Maybe you're starting to get, have the profit to hire a VA or someone to just focus on your distribution, right? And just manage your supply chain or whatever. So that you've got a little bit of the right people in the right place to focus on your business. That's really important. If you're not there yet, I would probably think about maybe launching a secondary product in a market first. Get more of that traction before going international. Um, that said, though, international is a huge opportunity. Any aggregator who goes and buys your Amazon FBA business, the first thing they want to do is start selling you in multiple marketplaces internationally. That's an easy growth, but they have the team and the expertise and the ability and the partners to easily grow you efficiently globally. So, that's the biggest tip I would give you is make sure you're doing it at the right time. In terms of uh, how do you test the waters and how do you do it? One easy idea is probably just to do what a lot of other sellers are doing is just use your ASIN and open it in a marketplace, and then just have a 3 or 4 week shipping base on that, where you ship the product from your Amazon market into the other one. You can easily test the waters there. But when I look at Australia, you can look for any big product like a car seat cover, sorry, a car cover, right? It's a product that does over 1 million in the US. There's products on page one that aren't even on FBA in Australia. And if you could just get in a FBA in Australia, you'll be on page one immediately. Your sales are going to go through the roof. So I would just take some stock and just get it over into that marketplace, and just see how you do. But yeah, it's a pretty big opportunity for sure.
Nice. That's awesome. And then let's talk about listing optimization, trying to boost conversion rates, versus the competition. Do you have any tips or tricks or conversion boosting strategies?
Yeah, I have a lot of those. That's probably one of our flagship products on Zonguru. Is called Keywords on Fire, and listing optimizer that goes with it. I think the biggest way to explain what that tool does is it's like contextual listing optimization. So what's really important is not just to look at, hey, what does my product need, or what I think my product needs, or in my listing, but what are my competitors doing, and what are they focusing on, and how do I beat them? Where's the opportunity? Those are things that we do in our tool, which almost gives it a kind of a 360 visualization, so you can understand, hey, this is what I need on my listing, but my competitors are doing this, so I can beat them with X, Y, and Z, and I can be the best optimized listing on page one versus my competitors, right? That's kind of like what we solve in our tool. Understanding not just what you need to put in your listing, but what are your competitors doing on their front, and how do you beat them is really important. And that rolls up into your PPC campaigns as well, right? Because if you can get quality score indexing between your listing and your PPC, and run campaigns around opportunistic keywords that your competitors don't own, you can really get some good traction there, and it helps your overall listing. So that's an area that we solve. The second thing I would say is don't just use a reverse lookup tool, right? Because there's so many competitive or software tools out there that do a reverse lookup, which if anybody doesn't understand, it's basically taking all the keywords that your competitors index for, and then kind of deduping that, creating a list out, and saying, hey, these are the keywords that you need to put into your listing. Yeah, that's important to understand what those keywords are, but you need to ensure that you actually are getting access to keywords in the local marketplace that customers are typing into Amazon, right? So what are actual customers typing into Amazon? Because all the listings that are out there, they're missing opportunities. There's so many different keywords that customers type into Amazon. So get a tool that will give you the reverse lookup, but also the ability to have an actual deduped with actual data from Amazon, what customers are putting into Amazon. That's what we do with our tool, is we give you the best of both of those. So when we compare that with competitors, we see so many keywords that they just don't even have in their list that I've got real search volume that people are typing in, that just simply listings are missing. For example, in the US, like Spanish keywords, like so many listings are just missing that. Even in their backend keywords, we can see with our tool, you can see what's in people's backends search terms. So we can tell on a true listing what do they actually have indexed and what do they have in their backend search terms. And they miss those opportunities all the time because they just don't have a tool that they're using that actually looks at what customers are actually typing in for that category and niche. So that's really important to get that in. So I think those are the main things. Again, I think whenever we do what do we recommend when doing a listing optimization is, get the right keywords into your listing, understand your top 25 competitors. What are they focusing on in terms of keywords? Where are some of those mid-volume keywords that they actually don't have in their listing or don't rank for? Pull that out as a subset and then run PPC against that subset opportunity keyword bunch, get better conversion rates, and you kind of see this halo effect where you start to get traction on those keywords, but then it spreads into the rest of your listing for some of those higher ranking or higher volume keywords, and you do better overall. So that's kind of the strategy and the process that we follow in our tool, and obviously in our listing optimization.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. Those are really, really great strategies. Cool. So I guess last question I'd like to ask is, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned since starting, your Amazon journey many years ago?
Um, I think probably and you know I think that the main thing is to understand that um, you know data um, data and what you do that well data is 50% of the equation, right? You need good data in order to make the right decisions, but in order to make those right decisions you actually have to make those decisions and be consistent with them, right? So I think in terms of the success of an Amazon business, it's really uh, making decisions, taking action on the data and your business as a whole is and being constant with that is the number one thing that you need to do in order to be successful with an Amazon business. It's not rocket science, but at the end of the day, you need to launch a successful product and then you need to be consistent, every week doing something with that business to stay in favor with the algorithm and to really understand how to scale that business. The people who are successful on Amazon are the people who are just every week are doing something consistent on that business. If you get distracted or if you start to focus on other things or you get bored, that's when that business starts to fall to pieces. So just be consistent in that action, figure out a process, and then just keep doing it. And you'll be successful, and that business will scale really quick. It's when you don't do that and you fall out of favor with the algorithm, you run out of stock, your PPC is all over the place, your conversion rate goes down, all of a sudden your quality score of your listing falls down, you get some 1-star reviews or whatever, you're out of favor with the algorithm, it's really hard to come back. So that's the important thing, is just to be consistent in your action. So that's the first one. I think the second one is launch is not the ultimate thing. That's really hard to do, is launch a product, but it's what you do with your product over the next year which is really critical, starting to get traction, scale, and really driving that business. So it's a really interesting space with interesting businesses. There's a lot of kind of like hustlers in the Amazon space, and maybe they do well with one product, but they don't really know how to create a scalable business. You need to do your homework, you need to learn, you need to get educated. At the end of the day, you've created an e-commerce business that needs to scale, and scaling an e-commerce business with a product, with people, with all that kind of stuff there's challenges, there's a strategy behind that. You need to focus on that and do your education and get going. Yeah.
Nice. That's great. Well, I highly recommend that you guys check out John's software. We're going to set up a page on turnkeyproductmanagement.com/Zonguru for you guys to go check out all the cool stuff that they have and all these amazing tools. But yeah, John, anywhere else that people can find you if they want to connect with you?
No, well, I think check out our Instagram channel. It's dedicated to all things Amazon sellers. Great product ideas, product differentiation. We have a new series launching on that, which will come out probably before this podcast launches with you, Jeff, called the Rate Your Hack series. Really a short, 1-2 minute video from experts in the field talking about their white hat hack of how to really scale their Amazon business. So I think you'll get a lot of good insights on that that you can apply to your own Amazon business. So definitely follow us on Instagram. There's some really good content coming out there. And our blog and everything else has great content. There's some challenges there if you want to jump on and do our rapid ranking challenge, you can find that, etc. So plenty of good content for you to follow there. Good luck out there. It's 2022 is going to be a wild year. I'm excited for it, and there's massive opportunity for sure.
All right. Thanks, John. Yeah. And check out his podcast as well. He had me on months ago back in 2021, and it was fun hanging out with him. So, all right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one, and we'll catch you next time. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode with John. Really appreciate him coming on and sharing such great tips for expanding internationally and much more. So, I learned a lot. And as always, if you guys want to scale your business to the next level and you're not sure if TurnKey can help or not, and you wanted to find out, just head over to turnkeyproductmanagement.com/talk. You can schedule a quick call. We're going to look inside your business, ask you questions to find out what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, where do you need to install into your business to grow to that next level. Are we a good fit or not? It's not always a great fit. We'll let you know either way. We love trying to find great brands that we can help take to the next level when we work together. So thank you guys so much and have a great day. Bye.